This place got a new face, killing Joe's face. Got a Joe thing, chilling in a new fade. Blue space in a new place, what did he say? He done tic-tac, feeling like a true play. Step back and I never say no. I was winning over there, now I'm spinning out of flow. Got a feeling in the air, but I'm feeling kinda low. Got a ceiling over here and I think it's gonna blow. Hey, this place got a new face, killing Joe's face.
Yo, 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 it's time for the show. We're gonna watch some geography now, yo. I know it's been a couple of days worth of a whole lot of stuff going on in the world, but in the meantime, in the between time, what y'all been watching? What you watching? I've been watching a lot of news, honestly. So it's been kind of like one of those deals where you need to disconnect for a minute. So I got some other stuff done, you know. But I'm coming back. I'll be back here. I'll be back. Make sure this is cold. Hell yeah. Gotta have that coconut water, yo. I'm Aquarian OG, and you should get to know me. Because we be just hanging out. You know, we watch some things around the internet. What do they call it now? The metaverse? I'm just going to stick with internet. Whatever. Anyhow. Ooh, yeah, I got some green screen things going on. Chill out. I got these bright lights overhead. Bad boys be... Yeah. I didn't adjust the green screen. I was having some tech issues. But, yeah. We're going to watch some geography now. It's been recommended in the comments in the past videos a couple times. So, I pulled them up and took a look around. We're going to look and do some learning. Oh, so just to make y'all happy, we're going to do a video on Manuka honey. I know I said it wrong and y'all been gunning me. I left it in there and I seen it when I was editing, but I just decided to leave it in there. You know, I figured it would get a response, but damn. But damn. Yes, I understand. Y'all take y'all's honey seriously. Man. So we're going to do a Manuka video. I found a cool one. It looks like it's pretty descriptive. I didn't watch much of it yet. I did check it out, a little quick screening. So, yeah. All right, let's hit this geography now. Where are we at? I think this is the Netherlands. Yeah, geography now, Netherlands. Yes, yes, yes. I know a little bit about the Netherlands, you know, from hearing it, you know, people talking, yada, yada, yada. Haven't really, like, dove into it, like, in depth. But this will be a good learning. This will be a good learning. So let's go. If you haven't subscribed or hit that like button or dropped a comment or something like that, you know, shared it, whatever you're going to do, please feel free to do so at any time. I got some new headgear, so the purples is on the backup. They on the backup team. Got some Lucids. Yay. These bad boys is pretty nice. I wish I had a deal with them, but I'm enjoying them so far. Let's see what geography now got for us. Y'all ready? Here we go, in the words of Slick Rick.
Now! Hey everybody, I'm your host Barbs. Now, there are many countries that deal with water issues.
Oh. Do we have sound?
Some lack water, some have too much water, and some, like the Netherlands, have bridled the wild stallion and have learned how to control the water and use it to their advantage. Water is probably the most powerful element in the Netherlands, and without it, they would be, I don't know, pretty useless.
Dry.
So what do you say, 2016 Vincent?
En dan nu, politieke geografie.
So yeah, stop calling this place Holland. That's just one part of the country.
Holland? Yeah, I thought that was just like a little piece too. Like an area. People actually call the whole area Holland? They don't see the borders?
Even though their country's national tourism website is called Holland.com. You're not helping us here, Dutchies.
Yeah,
Oh, and hey, there's a town called The Hulk. First of all, the country is located in northwestern Europe along the North Sea, bordered by Germany and Belgium. The country is divided into 12 provinces. Here's 2016 Vincent naming all of them for you.
They are Limburg, Noord-Holland, Zeeland, Zuid-Holland, Utrecht, Gelderland, Overijssel, Drenthe, Groningen, Friesland, Noord-Holland, and the newest province, Flevoland. Almost all
That actually sounded pretty cool. Run that back one more time. It had a bop to it.
Bordered by Germany and Belgium. The country is divided into
music
12
in the
provinces.
background, and
Here's
then we have
2016 Vincent naming
saying
all
the
of them
name.
for you.
They are Limburg, Noord-Holland, Zeeland, Zuid-Holland, Utrecht, Gelderland, Overijssel, Drenthe, Groningen, Friesland, North-Holland, and the newest province, Flevoland. Almost all of Flevoland
Them is
was
lyrics.
reclaimed from the Zuiderzee in the
Them is
1950s.
bars.
So besides being famous for making cheese and clogs, we also make
Oh, the clogs. Oh, damn, that is y'all. I forgot about that. I forgot about the clogs.
our own land.
The country kind of has two capitals. Amsterdam, the
Say
largest
what?
city and economic hub of the country.
Making cheese and clogs. We also make our own land.
The country kind of has two capitals. Amsterdam, the largest city and economic hub of the country, and home to the Royal Palace. And just to skip over, the third largest city, The Hague, acts as the second capital, which holds the seat of government, as well as the International Court of Justice. The second largest city, though, would be Rotterdam, which holds the busiest seaport in all of Europe. The busiest airport, though, is of course Amsterdam's Schiphol International, Europe's third busiest airport, carrying nearly 70 million passengers annually. Now we reach the overseas territories. Apart from the mainland European part, the country actually holds sovereignty over 6 other island entities in the Caribbean.
Damn, they all the way in the Caribbean? Okay.
Remnants of the colonial past. These are collectively called the Dutch Caribbean. And here's where it gets a little confusing. Technically, the Netherlands is a country made up of 4 countries. The mainland Netherlands, as well as 3 other constituent countries. Kind of like
Right.
what Wales and Scotland are to the UK. They are Aruba, Curacao, and St. Martin, which is actually half of an island shared with the French overseas territory of the same name, but in French. This means that this one island is the only area which
You're just trying to be different. You're just trying to be different.
the Netherlands technically borders France. These guys hold a high level of autonomy, they can have their own constitutions and currency. Otherwise, the remaining 3 islands are Bonaire, St. Eustatius, and Little Saba, which by the way has the shortest airport runway in the world. These
That airport was pretty unique. You see how that look? Hold on.
which by the way
Check
has
out
the
that
shortest
hill.
airport.
Look at that hillside. That is a short runway. Damn. They got a hill in the middle too. Damn. That's just a bad beat. I hope that ain't no right here. It look like a hill right in the middle right there. Make a little circle with a sound.
Runway in the world. These 3 fall under the title of special municipalities and do not belong to any province. They are directly controlled by the Dutch government. However, in 2011, they decided to switch currencies and adopt the US dollar. All these islands lie in the subregion known as the Lesser Antilles. Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire are usually referred to as the ABC Islands, lying in the subregion
that.
of the Leeward Antilles, whereas St. Eustatius, Saba, and St. Martin, usually called the SSS Islands, are located in the subregion
Which St. Martin's?
of the Leeward Islands. Keep in mind, at one point, all 6 of these islands were called the Netherland Antilles and operated collectively as a single constituent country with the capital at Willemstad in Curacao. They even competed separately in the Olympics. With the exception of Aruba, who had autonomy in 1986, it wasn't until the early 2000s when they all voted for their future, and it kind of went like this. Okay guys, you have 4 options for your future. Choose wisely. You can have closer ties to us, remain just as you are in the Netherland Antilles, autonomy as a constituent country within the Kingdom of the Netherlands, or you can opt for complete independence as a new nation and break away from us.
We vote for autonomy as constituent countries.
Me too. What the? We want closer ties and we'll settle for special municipality status.
Really, Bonaire? You're one of us, the ABC Island. You're really gonna ditch us like that and leave us with this half-Frenchy magoo?
That's how it
Yep,
be too.
deal with it. And that's basically how it went down. So there you go. That's how you make a Netherlands. Waterways dominate the country, though.
Oh,
There's
damn.
even a town with no roads and only canals. But how did it end up this way? Somewhere around the 9th century, people were kind of fed up with all the flooding, and they invented these seawalls known as dikes, which surrounded polders.
Okay, that's where that came from. I kind of low-key wondered who the hell was the person that was decided that a dam would be good here. You know, dikes and dams and stuff like that. You know, the water stuff. Or did they just pick that up off of beavers? Okay, dikes came from here.
Or reclaimed land plots protected by the dikes. To this day, the Netherlands has reclaimed about 1/5 of its total landmass from the sea.
So what would happen if all the dikes were destroyed and all the water just came and flooded everything?
Scientists speculate that the country would go from looking like this to this.
Whoa, Amsterdam would be gone.
Yep. Luckily, the Dutch are fantastic engineers and have been taming this dragon for centuries. And speaking of engineering, there are so many notable spots to check out in case you ever visit. So many museums, but the most notable one probably being the Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam, the Royal.
You know what? I don't know if I would go to a museum if I went out of country. That seems touristy. I'm not sure how interested I would be in a museum if I was to go out of country, and because every other time when I went to Canada, I didn't go to. Well, actually, scratch that. I did go to a museum when I went to Canada. The Ripley's, believe it or not, but that's kind of like weird stuff. That's not like country history or something like that. That's like strange, whatever stuff. I was looking for stuff I seen on TV, and seen some stuff I seen on TV, but to like just to go to a country and just to go to like a museum, that sounds kind of dry. I think I would rather go out and see what the locals are doing. I think, yeah, I'd go out and get in the mix. I'm pretty introverted, but I would go out and get in the mix. I got my extrovert ways too.
Palace, the Van Gogh Museum, the Anne Frank House, numerous castles like the...
Man, the Anne Frank house? I don't think I would go in there. I don't know. I don't think I would.
These, numerous star-shaped fortress
going
towns,
too
so
far.
many
I'm going too
amusement
far.
parks like these, the enclaves and exclaves of Barrel Nassau. We talked about this in the Belgium episode. The world's largest flower garden at
Oh, we gotta
Keukenhof,
check out the Belgium
Austerlitz
episode.
Pyramid, this prehistoric burial site, and of course there are somewhere around 1,000 historic windmills left in the country from the 1800s, mostly in the Kinderdijk area, a UNESCO heritage site. Keep in mind though, the country has a ton of
I like
modern
some good
wind
fishing.
turbines that help supply energy to the nation, a topic that will be discussed in... Greek philosopher Pythias visited in the 3rd century BC, and he said about this place, more people have died in the struggle against water than in the struggle against men. The Netherlands is really unlike any other country in Europe because in order
Like
for them
rice
to even
paddies.
have physical land, a lot of work has to go into it. For one, the country is the lowest country in Europe, elevation-wise. Over a quarter of the land and a fifth of the population lies below sea level, and about half of the land lies less than a meter above sea level. The lowest point actually being
That
here
makes
at
sense.
Zuidplaspolder, and the highest point of the mainland European part of the country at a small hill called Valseberg, just over 1,000 feet or 322 meters high. However, in the entire kingdom of the Netherlands, the highest point would actually be Mount Scenery, a potentially active volcano
Mount
on the
Scenery.
island of Saba in the Caribbean. Back to mainland Europe though, within this complex system of waterways and
European got more
canals, the
original
famous
than that,
Rhine
huh?
River that goes through all of Europe and the longest in the country actually ends
Scenery.
in Rotterdam. The largest body of water would be Lake or Bay Ijsselmeer, contained within the N302 and E22 highways.
That's a different way of naming highways. I'm assuming that's north and east. North and east.
In order to manage all the flooding in the south, though, the Netherlands has undergone one of the largest engineering projects in modern history. The Delta Works is a series of massive elevated levees that close off sea estuaries, preventing flooding. They even have backup levees in case one down the line bursts. In the north, though, the Walden Islands act as kind of like natural barriers against the sea. All this land reclamation has left many of the inland areas exposed to what are labeled as the largest open sand drifts in Europe. Keep in mind, they are not deserts, but rather strange wet sandy plots in the middle of green shrubbery, a rare natural site to come across anywhere in the world. So in a nutshell, the entire country is basically one big river delta.
We should hang out sometime.
Whew, so that's just about it for now. I gotta get my triple shot of espresso
on
break,
how
which
hot it
means
is.
we need a guy who knows a few things.
Besides all the water chaos, the Netherlands is quite a powerful nation considering its size. They rank in the top 20 largest world economies, usually around 17th or 16th place, and they rank somewhere in the top 5 to 10 largest exporters on Earth. In fact, they have the oldest stock exchange in the world, dating back to 1602.
Didn't that lead to like the whole tulip mania thing where people sold a single bulb for the price of like an entire ship?
That was not the stock market, that was just a socioeconomic phenomenon, and at its height sold for 10 times the annual wage of a skilled craftsman. Anyway, today, although they produce about 80% of the world's tulips and over half of the world's cut flower exports, their economy is mostly
That
driven
field
by the
was
service
pretty.
and energy sectors. After the discovery of a natural gas field in 1959, the Dutch became a fuel powerhouse. The Shell company became the largest and most internationally recognized Dutch company
that's
in the
where
world.
Shell
Besides the
came out,
petroleum
okay.
industry though, the Dutch are well known for their electronics and tech innovation. The company Philips invented the audio tape, which helped pioneer other formats like videotapes, CDs, DVDs,
Phillips,
and
we go
Blu-rays.
back a
Yeah,
long
the company
time.
was Dutch, but keep in mind it was invented in Hasselt, Belgium.
Oh, Belgium. We love you, but Don't try to take this from us.
Otherwise, the Dutch have made great strides towards environmental protection. It's not uncommon to find animal crossing bridges to allow wildlife to cross over highways. Over 70 mammal species exist here, such as hares, hedgehogs, stoats, and deer. In addition, according to their government website, they produce over 65 billion euros in vegetable, fruit, flour, meat, and dairy products. Speaking of which, the modern orange-colored carrot was originally bred orange here in the Netherlands to specifically honor.
Oh, that's where they came from. Because I knew about purple and yellows and stuff like that, but I didn't know who changed it to orange. Okay. We're learning some things today, y'all.
The king. Since then, orange carrots are now kind of an international staple. And speaking of which, food! Some top notable dishes you guys, the Dutch geography peeps, suggested we mention include things like various types of stamppot, Dutch pancakes with powdered sugar, apple tart, bitterballen, split pea soup, rookworst, stroopwafels. So many potato dishes. Brined herring and smoked eel. Gin was invented here. Sorry, Brits. For breakfast, chocolate sprinkles on toast is common. And the pride and joy... You guys, the Dutch geography peeps, suggested we mention include things like various types of stamppot, Dutch pancakes with powdered sugar, apple tart, bitterballen, split pea soup, rookworst, stroopwafels. So many.
It was this year that I learned what a stroopwafel was. Cause I do that shopping thing for the apps. I looked at the list that I had to go and shop for, and I saw a stroopwafel. I'm like, what the hell is a stroopwafel? The second time I came across stroopwafel. Oh, check them fries out. Hey.
Many potato dishes. Brined herring and smoked eel. Gin was invented here. Sorry, Brits. For breakfast,
okay, what? We put this on cake. Y'all put this on toast? What is it? Cream cheese on the bottom? That might not be that bad. What's the white stuff? Cream cheese or butter? Butter I don't see. Butter don't sound like it would go. Cream cheese? Yeah. That's a possible match right there.
Chocolate sprinkles on toast.
Chocolate sprinkles on... Oh, he was saying it too. I don't know about bread. A bagel, yeah, I can see that working. But bread might be the wrong texture. All right.
Potato dishes. Brined herring and smoked eel. Gin was invented here. Sorry, Brits. For breakfast, chocolate sprinkles on toast is common. And the pride and joy of the nation, Gouda cheese. Yep, that's how you pronounce it, guys. Oh, and keep in mind, they used to be the largest beer exporters in the world. Heineken being their top brand until Mexico beat them in 2010.
Oh, wow. Cool.
It's also important to note that you will probably find lots of Indonesian and Surinamese dishes like satay or salted cod buns. A little cultural hue that hints towards the colonial past, which brings us to...
Thank you, Noah. Follow him on Instagram.
Yep.
And he's out.
Okay, that just happened. Now, in Europe, you have all different types of people that operate with all different customs and ideologies. Here, they have two sayings that kind of sum up how a lot of their country operates. Meten is weten, and gezelligheid kent geen tijd. How is that, Dutchies? Terrible? Good? Well, you're gonna get what I give. Anyway, the country has about 17.5 million people and is the most densely populated nation in Europe. About 77% of the population identifies as Dutch, to whatever extent that may mean, whereas 10% are other Europeans, and the remainder are made up of other people groups, mostly Turks, Indonesians, as well as the Surinamese, and surprisingly, even some Americans. They use the euro as their currency, they use the type C and F plus.
Okay. C and F. Why can't we...
outlets and they drive on the right side of
Never
the road.
mind.
Now, we all know that Dutch is the official language of the Netherlands. However, if you speak English, you should have no problem at all visiting. Netherlands has the highest proficiency in English out of any non-English official country in the world. Somewhere around 9 out of 10 Dutch people claim they can comfortably speak English, and around 94% of the country is in some way bilingual. Geography Anna told me a joke. Many times, Dutch kids will ask their parents,
Hey, Mom.
Yes, honey.
Why do we have to learn English, but the British don't have to learn Dutch?
Because our ancestors decided it would be a great idea to trade New York for Suriname and one small island in Indonesia.
It's important to note, though, that there are two other regional languages accepted in Dutch society. They are Frisian, spoken in the northern Friesland region, and the other being Papiamento, a Dutch Creole spoken in the ABC Islands. And it's already kind of well known that the Dutch are the tallest people on average in the world, men averaging around 6'1" and women around 5'7". And once
I could be Dutch. I'm 6'4". Ha!
again, here's 2016 Vincent explaining.
Latest studies have shown that natural selection has been the biggest reason. Being tall should equal to being more athletic, successful and healthy. Many educated men start families after their studies. Fast forward a couple of years, with length being very heritable, and the result is a nation of giants. Yeah, we're outbreeding short people.
Religion in the Netherlands is interesting because historically they used to be predominantly Christian, mostly Protestant, but today about half the population identifies as unaffiliated, which
I could dig it. People waking up from just having to be in the habit of going to church. You don't need to go to church in order to be a good person.
depending on who you ask, could be anything from the largest unaffiliated group, agnostics, at about 34%, to the growing number of eiatists at around 28%, which is kind of like a technical term for spiritual but not religious. Otherwise, Islam at about 5% of the population is mostly practiced by Turkish and Indonesian communities. Christianity, although not practiced regularly by most of the people, still plays a heavy cultural role in the Netherlands. Holidays like Christmas, Easter, Pentecost, and Ascension are still celebrated by everyone in a Dutch manner. At one point, they were a vast empire that spanned across every inhabited continent. Australia was at one point called New Holland, New Zealand, named after the Zeeland province, Tasmania, named after this Dutch guy, New York was once called New Amsterdam, and so on. Otherwise,
why did I know that? The New York one. I picked it up on a passing by tidbit from somewhere I was at. It was like, New Amsterdam. Somebody was talking about something that was going on. I remember who I was with, but I don't remember exactly what the hell we was talking about. That's where that came from. Somebody knew it and passed it. I picked it up from somebody else. All right.
what is the Dutch way of doing things? Many of you guys, the Dutch geographers, have told me there's a Dutch saying, act normal, which is ironic considering that they are almost anything but normal. And here's random Hannah to explain culture stuff.
Historically, the Dutch have always kind of had a counter-traditional mindset that shaped the way they developed as a nation. For one, they are one of the few remaining monarchies left in the world, technically a unitary parliamentary constitutional monarchy that limits the royal powers. And the people generally like their king. He even has a holiday to himself, and the entire country wears the national color of orange. Of course, the country is known for being a frontrunner in passing what many in the world see as controversial laws. They were the first country to legalize same-sex marriage, they have regulated legal prostitution, euthanasia, and they have a policy of tolerance towards recreational soft drugs.
Wait, euthanize what? People? She gonna slip that one by there? No. Euthanize what? We talking about people or we talking about animals? Oh, snap.
Like marijuana. People 18 years or older are allowed up to 5 grams on them, otherwise it's a misdemeanor. They are world-renowned for excelling in field hockey, speed skating, and volleyball teams. Sailing is, of course, one of their longest pastimes. They even have a huge festival once every 5 years called the Sailed Amsterdam Festival. For some reason, it's common for people to give birth in their own homes as opposed to a hospital. About 1/3 of all babies are born this way.
What about those clog things?
Ah, yes. Well, in the past, they actually served a very useful purpose. They were worn by farmers, fishermen, and artisans in the past to protect their feet from nails, fish hooks, and other
Now, if you got them things on, how much traction are you getting on them rocks? Because, I mean, I don't imagine you had much traction on them rocks. I imagine that the shoes was hard. So,
sharp objects. Today they are mostly sold as souvenirs and very few people actually wear them, but they're pretty cool.
Oh, and hey Anna, what's up with all those spinny windmill thingy-mabobbers?
Ah, yes, the iconic symbol of the Netherlands. Well, many of these historic windmills were actually used to pump out excess water to reclaim the land that they now use for farming, all before electricity. And as for music,
Actually, I got this one. Barb said I could have my own segment in the show now instead of just being a one-liner guy!
Yeah, that's right, Keith has been upgraded, so yeah.
Well, enjoy it.
Well, that just happened.
Everybody got
Again,
superpowers.
I guess everybody has superpowers
I'm
now.
jealous.
Historically speaking, the Dutch contributed much to the Baroque period at the end of the Renaissance, with numerous composers, organ players, and vocalists.
They called the end of the Renaissance the Baroque period, huh? I see what y'all did there.
Rooted in Christianity. Traditional clog dancing was also a cool way to add percussion to folk music in rural areas. Today,
do sound
however,
cool.
even though there are many genres the Dutch enjoy, electronic music reigns supreme. Most of the
yeah.
best well-known DJs in the EDM scene across the world are from the Netherlands. And the
Really?
Amsterdam
I didn't know all
Dance
that.
event, ADE, is
All
the
of them.
world's top and largest
I
electronic
listened to
music
about half of
conference.
them.
So if you come out here, get ready to get shocked with some musical electricity.
Thank you, Keith. And speaking of the development of the Netherlands over time, let's talk about history in the quickest way I can put it. Hamburg and Bronze Age cultures, Iron Age with Celt and Germanic groups, Gallic wars, the Romans come in, Frankish kingdoms, Charlemagne, blah blah blah. Friesland once had a Viking ruler, Lotharingia, Holy Roman Empire, confusing Burgund.
You know what? Why do people call themselves, say they're descendants of Vikings? Wasn't being a Viking an occupation? Every time I hear that, I'm like, wasn't being a Viking an occupation? How can you be descendants of Vikings? That's like being 100% bricklayer. Right? Or am I thinking about it wrong? I know it was a way of life, but so is your job. You know what I mean? And I always thought about that when people said they're like something percentage Viking or whatever that, and yada, yada, yada. I'm like, you know, that's a job, right? That was an occupation.
Burgundian and Spanish Habsburg and city-states, the Spanish takeover, Dutch revolt, 80 years of war against Spain, this dude is a hero, golden age and stock market, Dutch East India Company,
this dude was a
exploring
hero?
years, Dutch Empire, Napoleon drama, Belgium
Lord.
breaks away, Luxembourg breaks away, World War I, relatively neutral, World War II,
Yeah.
attacked by Germans, not neutral,
Yeah.
decolonialism after the war, mining golden age, founding co-members of the European Coal and Steel Community, which would later become the EU, government encourages over half a million
that-
people to move
okay.
out, Euro adopted, and here we are today. Some notable people you guys, the Dutch geography people suggest we mention, might include people like William of Orange, the first king, Michael de
Of
Ruyter,
Orange.
possibly the most famous painters, Vincent van Gogh and Rembrandt, Anthony van
Rembrandt.
Leeuwenhoek, Willem Barents, Abel Tasman, Anne Frank, Max Verstappen, Glennis Grace, Dick Bruna, these soccer players, these skaters, and of course the royal family, and of course there's so many others I could have mentioned. Of course I butchered all the pronunciations, but we're really running out of time and we gotta finish this
Couple of
marathon.
them.
So without further ado, let's see who the Netherlands hangs out with. Now, there's a reason why it's called going Dutch when paying for a meal. The Netherlands likes
Aw,
to share.
damn.
Systematic and mathematically equivalent to what is owed to each based on the merit they've earned. First of all, pretty much all the former colonies have some kind of amicable relation to the Netherlands. The Afrikaans language in South Africa is basically just an Africanized version of Dutch.
Wait, Afrikaans is all the way up in the Netherlands? I mean, yeah. The Netherlands? That's quite a distance. Okay. The settling part of North Africa, of the settling part of South Africa was from the Dutch. He did say they sailed a bunch of ships. All right. Trade-off.
Dutch. Tons of Surinamese and Indonesians have been migrating to the Netherlands for decades. Otherwise, the USA and Canada are very close friends as well. During World War II, the royal family actually took refuge in Canada, and Canada actually quickly changed the law in which the hospital was temporarily considered extraterritorial so that the princess could be born Dutch. To this day, the Netherlands sends tons of flowers every year in gratitude. For the US, the two go way back all the way to New Amsterdam before it was New York. The Dutch
Right.
have immigrated to the US for centuries. 5 American presidents have been of Dutch descent. They are each other's
Bush
third
was
largest
Dutch.
direct foreign investors. They are both charter members of NATO since 1949,
I knew that.
and overall, in most global affairs, the two usually work together as close allies. With Germany, it's like a funny love-hate relationship. Like the two share so much historically, both being under the same influences like
Germany
the
was
Western
tripping
Roman
way back
Empire,
then,
the
but
Franks,
they
and
got
even their
forgiven.
first king, William of Orange, belonged to a German royal house. Then again, World War II was kind of like a jerk move, and the Dutch never really forgot about it. But nonetheless, they've moved on, and today things are fine.
You're mad
Germany
at
is
them.
their largest trading partner, both in imports and exports. Many Germans Netherlands and Dutch cross over and visit, study, live, and have families with each other's countries. When it comes to their best friend, however, almost every single Dutch person I have talked to has said their little brother they love picking fun on and calling stupid, Belgium. Or at least specifically the northern Flanders region of Belgium where the Dutch speakers are. And many see the Flanders region as just an extension of the Dutch realm. The royal families love each other. King William Alexander even bestowed the Knight Grand Cross to King Philip and his wife. Flemish and Dutch people have been intermarrying and cooperating side by side since the beginning, and even after Belgium's independence, they've still clung on as the only two Dutch official-speaking nations in Europe. And even then, Belgium is only half Dutch-speaking, so they really can't afford to sever ties. In conclusion, the lowest nation in Europe with the tallest people on Earth, and with centuries of discovery, invention, innovation, and tradition, it's no wonder why the Dutch say they keep their heads above water. Stay tuned, New Zealand is coming up next. So once again, Vincent, thank you so much for being in this episode. Our favorite Dutchman, you have made your country proud.
Dutch punch!
Oh. Oh, snap. Go hit them gentlemen with a sub. Couldn't think for a second. Had a brain fart. All right, y'all. We have been in the Netherlands. That's pretty good. We're going to check out some more of those. They're dropping some little tidbits here. I didn't know some of that stuff. It's like, all right. Picking up some of this and some of that. Looking around the world, you know. All right. I'm Aquarian OG, and I am OUT. Stay tuned for the next video from me. Deuces on the flips. Deuces on the flips.
Cheese